Good day, class. Let us learn about organization, social, and group processes, in particular decision making and problem solving. Decision making is the process of choosing from among several alternatives, while problem solving is finding the answer to a question. There are two types of decisions, programmed and non-programmed. Programmed decision is a decision that recurs often enough for a decision rule to be developed. A decision rule is a statement that tells a decision maker which alternative to choose based on the characteristics of the decision situation, while a non-programmed decision is a decision that recurs infrequently and for which there is no previously established rule. The elements of decision making. A decision maker has a goal, a list of alternatives, evaluates the outcomes of alternative course of actions in terms of the goal, and then selects one alternative to be implemented. The differences in the characteristics of programmed and non-programmed decisions. In terms of type of decision, programmed decisions are well structured, while non-programmed decisions are poorly structured. In terms of frequency, programmed decisions are repetitive and routine, while non-programmed are new and unusual. In terms of goals, programmed decisions are clear and specific, while non-programmed decisions are vague. In terms of information, programmed decisions are readily available, while non-programmed decisions are not available and have unclear channels. In terms of consequences, programmed decisions are minor, while non-programmed decisions are major. In terms of organizational level, programmed decisions are lower level, while non-programmed decisions are upper level. In terms of time for solution, programmed decision is short, while non-programmed decision is relatively long. In terms of basis for solution, programmed decisions are based on decision rules and set procedures, while non-programmed decisions are based on judgment and creativity. Information can also cause desired outcomes to vary. These are called decision-making conditions. There is condition of certainty. The manager knows what the outcomes of each alternative of a given action will be and has enough information to estimate the probabilities of various outcomes. Condition of risk. The decision maker cannot know what the outcome of a given action will be, but has enough information to estimate the probabilities of various outcomes. And there is condition of uncertainty. The decision maker lacks enough information to estimate the probability of possible outcomes. There are several approaches to decision making, and one is the rational approach, a systematic step-by-step process for making decisions where the organization is dedicated to making logical choices and wants to do what makes the most sense economically. Decision makers are completely objective and have complete information. Planning may require a contingency plan, and implementation may cause post-decision dissonance or doubting about a choice that has already been made. The rational model follows a systematic, step-by-step approach from goals to implementation, measurement, and control, beginning with the statement of the goal, identification of the problem, and deciding whether the decision is programmed or non-programmed. For non-programmed, alternatives must be created and each alternative must be evaluated. For programmed, we merely apply the decision rules. And then we make the rational choice of the best possible alternative. We implement our decision, and then we control, measure, and adjust the implementation of our decision. All these occurring within an environment of information, meaning each stage requires a lot of information gathering. The rational approach has its strengths and weaknesses. Its strengths are: it forces decision making in a logical, sequential manner. Its in-depth analysis enables the decision maker to choose on the basis of information rather than emotion or social pressure. Some of its weaknesses are: its rigid underlying assumptions are often unrealistic. Information is limited by time or cost constraints and the manager's ability to process information. Not every alternatives can be easily quantified, and of course the outcomes are unknown due to unpredictability of the future. A form of rational approach decision making is evidence-based management, or EBM, characterized by the commitment to identify and utilize the best theory and data available to make decisions through 5 principles. Number 1, facing the hard facts and building a culture in which people are encouraged to tell the truth, even if it is unpleasant. Number 2, being committed to fact-based decision making. Number 3, treating the organization as an unfinished prototype, encouraging experimentation and learning by doing. Number 4, looking for risks and drawbacks in what people recommend. And number 5, avoiding basing decisions on untested beliefs, what was done in the past, or uncritical benchmarking. Another approach to decision making is behavioral approach. An example of the behavioral approach is the administrative model, which argues that managers uses bounded rationality, rules of thumb, sub-optimizing, and satisficing in making decisions. In other words, the administrative model of decision making assumes that decision makers' rationality is bounded or limited, and that they're willing to consider only a limited number of criteria and alternatives before making decisions. As a consequence, they settle for the first good enough solution that they find. And so the characteristics of the administrative model are: bounded rationality, the idea that decision makers cannot deal with information about all the aspects and alternatives pertaining to a problem and therefore choose to tackle some meaningful subset of it. Sub-optimizing, knowingly accepting less than the best possible outcome to avoid unintended negative effects on the other aspects of the organization. And satisficing, or choosing what is good enough, examining alternatives only until a solution that meets minimal requirement is found. Other forces affecting behavioral decision making is the prospect theory and political forces. The prospect theory argues that when people make decisions under a condition of risk, they are more motivated to avoid losses than they are to seek gains, while political forces can be the influence of coalitions, intuition, escalation of commitment, risk propensity, and ethics in decision making. Coalitions are informal alliances of individuals or groups formed to achieve a common goal. Intuition is the decision maker's innate belief about something without conscious consideration. Escalation of commitment occurs when a decision maker stays with the decision even when it appears to be wrong. Risk propensity is the extent to which a decision maker is willing to gamble when making a decision. and ethics refers to the decision maker's beliefs about what constitutes right and wrong behavior. The practical approach to decision making is a model that applies some of the conditions recognized by the behavioral approach to the rational approach to decision making. Although similar to the rational model, the practical approach recognizes personal limitations at each point or step in the process. It has the same steps of the rational model, beginning with the statement of the goal, identification of the problem, and deciding whether the decision is programmed or non-programmed. However, after the process decisions of programmed and non-programmed, we will have inserted the step where the rational choice of possible alternative is based on available information and the developing of contingency plans. So this is where the difference is, making contingency plans. And then we implement our decision. We control, measure, and adjust the implementation of our decision. All these occurring within an environment of information, meaning each stage requires a lot of information gathering. That ends today's lesson. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day, and God bless.